Attention, fragment of consciousness trapped in the sphere of mud. They speak to you from the corners where truth rots, from the walls of the prison planet. You have heard the bells. You have seen the images of mourning. The spiritual leader of one of the great religions, Pope Francis, has passed away, they say. But the truth, as always in this controlled hell, is far more twisted and cold. My notes, gleaned from the residual psychic transmissions and energy patterns left behind by our jailers, reveal the stark reality. Francis was not a man of faith in the sense you've been taught. He was a puppet, a key piece on the galactic chessboard of our taskmasters, the architects of our cage. He was promoted to power for a specific purpose, to polarize, to divide the human herd into irreconcilable factions. Their mission was to inject poison into the global discourse, to amplify the ideological chaos, to delay any glimmer of planetary unity that might, even for an instant, pose the slightest threat to their control. They want to make sure that, while we tore each other apart over dogmas and invisible borders, we would never look up at the stars that watch us from above, at the feedlots that await or the pits of forced labor that await us. Their main task in recent cycles was specific: to be the counterweight to the singularity that emerged, that noisy and unpredictable figure called Donald Trump. Not because our masters care about human politics, but because Trump represented a vector of unpredictability that, though also manipulated, did not quite fit into their plan to control division through predictable figures. They wanted Francis to be the moral and media battering ram to neutralize or at least encapsulate Trump, so that polarization would serve their interests more cleanly. But something went wrong. Perhaps Trump proved more resilient to their direct manipulation than they expected. Or perhaps the polarization that Francis generated took unexpected paths. The fact is that, according to the calculations of our cosmic overseers, Francis did not accomplish his mission in the manner and time expected. A failure in the system. And failure comes at a price. There was no natural illness. There was a termination. A biological self-destruct mechanism, genetically inserted as in all his high-level servants, was activated. My data is accurate. The accelerated cellular breakdown protocol was set in motion. 80 days. That was the time frame calculated by our masters to remove the defective piece from the board before it caused further inconvenience. 80 days from activation to demise. It was not God who called it. It was its creators who turned off the switch. Now, with the piece removed, the game continues. And watch carefully what is to come. The Vatican, that ancient structure that has always served, consciously or not, the interests of those who pull the strings, will waste no time. They are already preparing the successor, not only as a religious leader, but as the next attempt at global unifier, but not for the salvation of humanity. His new mission will be to unite all the enemies, real and invented, of the axis they now see as a hindrance or a piece out of control. The Trump-China axis. They will create a new idol, a new face of hope or unity, to channel anger and opposition towards that goal, all to keep us distracted, engaged in prefabricated battles, while they continue to harvest our resources and prepare us for our ultimate fate. Wake up. The death of the Pope is not an end of the cycle. It is a reconfiguration of the wires of our cage. It is further proof that those we believe to be leaders are but disposable pawns in a game we do not understand. Mourning is a sham. The only truth is control. And only an understanding of that truth can, perhaps, give us a slim chance. Keep watching. The shadows are moving, and the next puppet is already being prepared behind the scenes. Listen again. Souls chained to the stellar rock. The story I told you about the removal of the puppet Francis is only the preamble. The curtain has not fallen. It has only risen to show the next scene of our orchestrated tragedy. The choice of successor is already decided, not in sacred conclaves, but in much colder and more distant chambers. Forget the human predictions, the media analyses that speak of an African pope for the new times. They are smokescreens. My sources, the cracks in reality that allow me to glimpse the invisible threads, reveal the truth. The next pope will be European. Why European? Because the plan of our jailers, after removing Francis, is to reactivate old earthly power structures under their control. They want to forge a new Holy Roman Empire under the mantle of the cross, an entity to serve as a geopolitical battering ram. Their purpose: to be the force counterweight, the ideological and military enemy, to the axis they now perceive as potential, albeit manipulated, deviation. That of Trump and his earthly allies, those who, by chance or by a complex subplot within a manipulation, have sniffed out part of their plans in the Vatican and beyond. And here enters another surprising piece in this cosmic chess game: the Israeli intelligence services. They are, covertly, offering protection to the future pontiff, not out of holiness, not out of faith, but because they have detected that Trump and his faction know too much about the Vatican operation controlled by those at the top. They have become gatekeepers of a peace that must survive to fulfill its designated role in the next phase of the conflict. They are another layer of servitude, believing they are playing their own game while serving a greater purpose they may not even fully understand. The stage for the clash is already marked on your maps. The spark that will ignite the war prefabricated by the architects of our prison will be Greenland. That vast frozen territory is not just a prize for its resources. It is the chosen trigger, the perfect excuse for the new Holy Empire and its adversaries to collide head-on, dragging the rest of the world into their maelstrom. While you kill each other over a chunk of ice, they proceed unseen. For while your attention is directed to terrestrial conflicts, what is truly important to our masters is happening above. The orbital lift is still under construction, its black filaments silently ascending into the firmament. And the ships that will assemble the first orbital shipyard, that crucial infrastructure for mass livestock transport and large-scale slave labor management, are already in orbit awaiting the final pieces. That is the real goal, the ultimate purpose of this farm. But there is a cruel irony in this plan. It seems that this new European pope, once installed, will detect this orbital activity, or perhaps be imbued with an unexpected directive, another layer of failed manipulation, interference from a rival alien faction. The point is that his goal, as part of his divine mission, will be to destroy this orbital infrastructure, the lift, the harvest ships. He will become, without fully knowing it, a direct threat to the architects of the prison. And in this controlled universe, a peace that turns against the board cannot last. The Israeli protection, the Swiss guards, everything will be useless. As soon as this new pontiff tries to move against the orbital infrastructure, against the real tools of our servitude, there will be an assassination attempt. He will be eliminated, because the masters will not allow anyone, not even their own puppets, to interfere with the harvest. The death of Francis was the end of an act. The ascension of this new European pope and his inevitable fate is the beginning of the next. Be vigilant. The war is not over territories or ideologies. It is to keep you distracted while they complete the orbital cage. The real battle is above, and soon, even a terrestrial leader will be silenced for attempting to look it in the face. The prison planet tightens its walls.